AITA for imitating my teacher's hemorrhoid walk and catching a slap in front of the class? So, look, I'm not a bully, not really. I'm just one of those kids with no filter, overactive imagination, and an allergy to silence. If something's funny, I'll say it. If something's too funny, I'll act it out. It's like a compulsion, and yeah, sometimes that gets me into trouble, but never like this. The man in question? Mr. Wrangle. He teaches history, which already sets the vibe to nap mode before class even starts. He's one of those teachers who thinks raising his voice is a personality trait, and he always smells like stale chalk and those sugar-free breath mints old people keep in their coat pockets. But what really makes Mr. Wrangle iconic is his walk. Bro, when I say he walks like he's hiding a golf ball between his cheeks, I mean it with my whole chest. It's like his knees are always arguing with each other, his arms swing like wet noodles, and he's got this permanent grimace like he's about to sneeze and fart at the same time. We all noticed. You literally can't not notice. Dude walks like every hallway is an obstacle course for his internal bleeding. Now fast forward to this fateful Monday. First period. Everyone's half dead. I'm chewing on a mechanical pencil like it's beef jerky. Wrangle strolls in, and the moment I see that extra exaggerated hobble, like he's carrying a hemorrhoid the size of a peach pit, I lose it. Quietly, at first. But then I get the urge. The forbidden thought. You know how in movies they say, don't do it, bro, and the character's like, I gotta do it. That was me. The class was bored. I had an audience. Destiny was calling. So when he turns his back to write the French Revolution on the board with that half-assed screechy marker, I slowly stand up from my desk. And I begin to waddle. Now, I didn't half-send this. I went full Oscar-worthy reenactment mode. Hunched shoulders, knees bent, butt sticking out like I was smuggling a rotisserie chicken. Every third step, I'd stop and pretend to wince. I even whispered, oof, and grabbed my lower back like I'd thrown a disc. It was art. The class? Unhinged. I heard gasps. Someone literally dropped their phone and didn't pick it up. A girl near the window fell out of her chair laughing. I caught my best friend crying, like actual tears. The guy behind me said, dude, stop, I'm gonna pee. Even the quiet exchange student was wheezing. And then, silence. You ever feel a cold draft in a room that suddenly got spiritually violent? I turned around mid-waddle, and there he was. Mr. Wrangle, staring, like I had just murdered his cat in a TikTok dance. The room went nuclear quiet. I could hear the fluorescent light buzzing. He just stood there for a second, face red, holding the dry erase marker like it was a prison shiv. I swear I saw his eye twitch. And then he marched, straight up to me, real fast, no limp now. And wham, open palm to the chest. Not a slap, but like one of those, sit yo ass down, dad hits. My hoodie crunched. I stumbled back into the desk like, yo WTF? Whole class went feral. Somebody screamed, he hit him. One girl gasped so hard she almost swallowed her gum. And Wrangle just shouted, disrespectful. You think this is funny? Which, yes, I do. Because it is. He pointed at the door and barked, principal. Now. So I walk out, hand on my chest like I'm the victim of a soap opera assassination. My boy gave me a solemn salute. Someone whispered, legend. A girl gave me the thumbs up. Felt like I was being marched to the gallows. I get to the principal's office, sit down, and she's like, what happened? I explain, still slightly stunned. I tell her I was just doing an impression, not trying to be mean, and that the class laughed, but no one was actually hurt. Except maybe Wrangle's pride. She pinches the bridge of her nose. You know that look adults get when they want to laugh but legally can't? That. Then she hits me with the, you know you can't imitate teachers, especially like that. I'm like, but he hit me. And she's like, we'll handle that part separately. Translation. Yeah, he's cooked. So I get a 1-day detention for inappropriate behavior. No suspension, no write-up. Wrangle? Word is he got, spoken to privately. Which is HR code for, yo, don't hit kids, dumbass. When I came back the next day, I was a legend. Kids from other classes were like, you're that guy. People offered me snacks in the hallway. Someone made a meme with my face and, when the walk turns into a lawsuit. It spread like wildfire on Snapchat. Even seniors who don't know me were like, yo hemorrhoid kid, you're a goat. But now I'm low-key wondering, AITA? Was I wrong for making fun of a man's possibly real medical issue? Or is it kinda fair game when he's been a jerk all year and walks like he's in pain but refuses to explain it? Like, if he does have hemorrhoids, should he not be telling us instead of Hulk smashing students? After I got booted from class with a new title, the dude who mimicked a teacher with a butt hanging by a thread, I figured, cool, it's over. Bit of drama, bit of laughs, I survived. Wrong. That was just the prologue to hell. Soon as I got home and dropped my bag, my mom literally materialized in the doorway. No footsteps. Just, poof, like a final boss of passive aggression. What did you do at school? Me? Nothing big, really. The principal called me. Those words? Death sentence. 10 minutes later, Dad's sitting in the kitchen with a mug of black coffee and that looked like, this house is now a courtroom. And when he's wearing that gray sweater, you know he's going to war. They synced up instantly. We're going to the school. Tomorrow? Now. Smash cut to the principal's office. I'm wedged between them like a sad meatball in a sandwich. Please explain, my mom says, why a grown man hit my son. In class. In front of everyone. Well, he mimicked the teacher's walk, the principal mumbles. So what, we're handing out slaps for impressions now. Dad snaps. Right then, the door opens. Rangel enters, like he's about to give a TED Talk titled, My Suffering, A Journey. He's holding a water bottle, a folder, and an orthopedic seat cushion with blue cats on it. He lowers himself onto the very edge of the chair, makes this overdramatic pause, and goes, I suffer. We exchange a quick side eye. I have internal hemorrhoids, chronic, with complications. It hurts to stand, hurts to sit, and hurts even more when children laugh at me. Silence. The kind where even a fly would be like, nah, I'm out. Your son. He was the last straw. He mocked me. Everyone laughed. I lost control. Mom doesn't blink. And that justifies physical violence? Dad, should we throw in an emotional damages claim while we're at it? I've already been through counseling, Rangel adds quietly. They've enrolled me in anger management. It won't happen again. That's when Mom pulls out a recorder. Click. I've recorded this conversation. Just in case we need a lawyer. Rangel turns white like a napkin. The principal sweats. We've already taken measures, she says fast. Mr. Rangel will no longer teach your son's class. He's been reassigned. But wait, the staff room snitch moment. On my way out, I ducked into the bathroom. Right next door to the teacher's lounge, which always has the door cracked open. And that's when I hear a voice say, loud and clear. So Rangel slapped another kid? Man needs a vacation and a firmer cushion, maybe he'd finally relax. Chaos. Teachers were laughing. Another one chimed in. I've said it before, he belongs in the library. Less walking, less rage. That's when I realized, they all know. They've always known. Rangel isn't just a meme to us, he's a meme to his coworkers too. I walked out of the bathroom like I'd just seen backstage at Hell. I was half ready to publish a book called, Quotes from the Teacher Lounge. The next day, the school was buzzing like a hive of flying rumors. Rangel? Gone. One student said they saw him shopping for new cushions. Another said he moved to a monastery near Suzdal to learn cactus meditation. But then came the parent committee meeting. The school held a last-minute emergency PTA session to address the incident constructively. Translation. Let's mop the floor and pretend we have control. There we were, auditorium. Parents, principal, my homeroom teacher, even the school therapist came in with a notebook and a mug that read, I don't treat you, I judge you. The principal started with a speech that sounded like a funeral eulogy. Then Rangel's mom, yes, she was there, rambled on about, my son gave his best years to this school. The crowd was already groaning. Then this absolute unit of a dad from class 10A stood up. Leather jacket, big hands, big voice. He grabs the mic. Sorry, but if this guy can't control his hands, maybe he needs treatment, not a classroom. Boom. Crowd. Oh, h. Someone clapped. Someone else yelled, facts. The therapist dropped his pen. Rangel's mom nearly choked. Then they gave my mom the mic. And bro, she dropped bars like a TEDx queen. I'm not against discipline. I'm not against rules. But when a grown man hits a child, that's not discipline, that's assault. And if he hides behind a diagnosis to dodge accountability, I expect proof. And an apology. Standing ovation. My homeroom teacher whispered to another, "Can we put her on the board, please?" While all this went down, my boy Sonia sent a pic in the group chat, a cushion with angel wings and a halo. Caption: Rest in peace. The pillow left with the teacher. Next morning, the staff room had a fresh sign on the door. Reminder: physical contact with students is forbidden under any circumstances. Underneath, someone had taped a sticky note, even if they mock your hemorrhoid walk. And that's how I became the guy who took down the system, with one impression and a chest bruise. Some teachers even walk up to me now and whisper, "That was a circus, kid," but damn, it needed to happen. And maybe, somewhere in a monastery near Suzdal, Mr. Wrangle sits on a cold stone bench, on a pillow, and whispers, "Never again." A week had passed. The school had kinda calmed down, but the vibe? Still tense like a gas station filled with leaking barrels. Wrangle was gone, but the air reeked of shame and unresolved chaos. And then, boom, another, final, school meeting. They called it a wrap-up to the scandal, meant to hear all sides and restore trust. Yeah, right, like you can rebuild trust after catching a slap to the chest from a man armed with a donut pillow. The auditorium was packed again. Parents, teachers, admin, even some folks from the district office, probably just there for the popcorn. I sat in the back. My dad next to me, cracking his knuckles like he was prepping a PowerPoint called, "Slap a Student, Walk Free." My mom looked calm, but I could feel the moral power loading into her voice recorder. The principal came up, another speech, another round of, "We regret, the incident is behind us, all staff have been retrained." The crowd rumbled, then he stepped onto the stage. The school psychologist, dude in his 40s, always quiet, roams around with a notebook, wearing the same brown blazer like he got trapped in 1996 and just rolled with it. He grabbed the mic. Pause. The whole room. What, now the shrink's gonna say, "Let's love and hug," or something. But he goes, "I've been analyzing student behavior these past few weeks. I've talked to them, watched how they react, and you know what?" Pause. He looked straight at the crowd and said, "They're just reacting to the absurdity of adults." Boom. Whole room. "Excuse me?" He continued, calm and confident. "The student who mimicked the teacher's walk. That wasn't malice. That was self-defense. Humor is how kids deal with tension. When adults act absurd, kids laugh. That's normal. What's not normal? Hitting them for it." Lightning. Teachers exchanged looks. The vice principal deflated like a birthday balloon. "We, as adults, forget far too often," he added, "that kids aren't required to put up with the nonsense we pass off as structure. They don't have to stay silent when someone acts weird but pretends it's all by the book." Dead silence. My dad leaned over and whispered, "Now that's a real one." The psychologist kept going. "When a teacher snaps on a kid, that's not a one-time mistake. That's a red flag. The system is breaking, and we just slap a post-it note that says, 'Under control.'" He looked at the principal, "But it's not under control." And now, thankfully, the students aren't afraid to say it out loud anymore. Applause. First slow, then louder. Someone yelled, "Give that man a diploma." After the meeting, I was walking down the hallway when the psychologist caught up to me. "You did good," he said. "Not for the joke, but for dragging out what everyone was too scared to face." He handed me a yellow sticky note that read, "Be a normal adult. Or be a joke, your choice." Next day, in the school newspaper, yeah, we have that useless little rag, there was a headline, "When Truth Grabs the Mic," with a pic of the psychologist and a subheading, "He said what no one dared to." And me? I turned into some kind of meme Robin Hood. Teachers nodded at me in the cafeteria. One even whispered, "Honestly, that walk imitation? Spot on, looked like my neighbor with a hernia since '04. But then came the switch up. Another week passed. Wrangle still hadn't returned. Rumors said he was in a rehabilitation center for spinal stability, translation, crying into his donut cushion somewhere in the woods. Then, like a final scene in a redemption movie, a new history teacher walks into class. Young guy, maybe 30. Curly hair, sneakers, black hoodie. Instead of a briefcase, he had an iPad. Instead of a grumpy face, he had this amused smirk, like he already knew this school was chaos and came prepared with popcorn. He walks in, sets down a mug that said, "History equals facts plus good gossip," and goes, "Hey everyone. I'm Mr. James Carter. My walk's pretty average. Don't plan on slapping anyone. The class died. I almost dropped my pen. He added, if you want to imitate my walk, go ahead, just don't trip. And if something doesn't make sense, ask me. I'm not a psychic, but I'll try. Right from the jump it was clear. Not a Wrangle 2.0. This was like an upgraded teacher DLC with zero trauma included. During the break, he didn't run off to the staff lounge. He sat with us, chatted. Someone asked, do you know about, that thing? He smiled. I've heard. But if I slapped every student who made fun of me, I'd be in handcuffs. Solid gold ones. First lesson? Banger. No yelling. No, you never do your work. Tantrums. He showed memes about Napoleon, pulled up TikToks about the French Revolution, and at one point said, history isn't just dates. It's dumb decisions that led to disasters. Just like our school, minus the guillotine. The class lost it. Even the nerdy straight-a girl laughed. She usually only smiles at equations. And that's when I realized, the school was changing. Slowly, but it was happening. He wasn't a superhero, just a normal adult who didn't take his issues out on kids. And you know what? A week later, on the bulletin board by the class schedule was a printed photo. Mr. Carter. Teacher of the Month reason, nobody got slapped. The school wasn't paradise, but finally, there was light at the end of the cushion tunnel. And in this new reality, it was obvious, humor and honesty beat fear. Every time. As for Wrangle, there was still a meme floating around of his cushion flying through the sky like a UFO, captioned, he's gone. But the trauma remains. 6 months had passed. The school had long since exhaled. Wrangle became a legend, but more like an abandoned artifact. Remember that teacher with the cushion? Oh yeah, the one who almost memed the entire history department into a coma. I figured I'd never see him again. Honestly, I wasn't planning to. The slap was history. The fame had faded. Teachers were acting like semi-decent humans again. Mr. Carter, the new guy, had found the perfect balance between, haha, and, do your work, to the point even the vice principal was smiling, sometimes. And then, bam, totally random, I was at the public library. Don't judge me, my phone died and we had to do a history paper the old school way. I was cruising the dusty aisles when I saw a familiar silhouette. That slouched figure, that cautious walk, like every step required negotiations with his own body. Wrangle, sitting at a table, glasses on, papers spread out, drinking tea from a thermos mug. And under him, yep. The cushion, still there. Something hit me, not fear, just this weird mix of awkward, nostalgic, almost sympathetic. He looked older, quieter, sadder, maybe. I said screw it and walked over. Hi, Mr. Ray, sir. He looked up, recognized me instantly. His face twitched. Oh, you. Pause. Silence. Only the AC buzzing like a leaky faucet. I took a breath. I'm not here to mess with you. I saw you, figured. I'd say hi, human to human. He leaned back slightly, took a sip. Honestly, I thought you hated me. I smirked. Me? Bro, you're the one who slapped me, not the other way around. He gave a crooked smile. Yeah. I still don't fully understand what happened that day. Like a brain short circuit. Everything snapped. Well, I mean, your walk was kinda like. He raised a finger. Careful now. We both laughed, silently, together, like two characters after a battle scene, who forgot who was punching who. He invited me to sit. So we sat, 2 mugs, 2 versions of the past, both with different brackets. You know, he said, you gave me the hardest slap of all. Not physically, morally. You're the one who actually slapped me, though. He waved it off. Not that. I mean how you made me realize what I looked like to others. How I acted, like a dictator with a donut cushion? Exactly. He chuckled. After that incident, I got benched. Left the school, thought it was over, but then I realized, maybe it was a chance. A reset. I started seeing a therapist. Changed my diet, even joined a yoga class. Seriously? Yep, full of other wrecked folks like me. I didn't know what to say. Everything from before felt like it blew away. What was left? Just a guy, tired, burned out, honest. He looked at me. Look, I know apologies months later don't mean much. But I still want to say it. I'm sorry, for the slap, for losing it, for acting like I was in a soap opera. I was quiet, then I said, You know. I wasn't exactly an angel either. I really pushed it, everyone was on edge back then. He nodded. Exactly. And that's when I realized, maybe this is part of growing up. Realizing even adults aren't made of steel. That behind a cushion might not be just a butt, maybe there's pain. Loneliness. Fear of being laughed at. We talked for maybe 20 more minutes. About school, about life. He said he now worked in the city archives. Quiet, no kids, but he liked it. I told him even kids from other schools now knew who I was. He smirked. You really gave them a show, huh? Then he said, if you ever become a teacher someday, remember this. The best way to go down in history isn't through scandal. It's through being human. At the exit, he turned and said, oh, by the way. He reached into his bag and handed me a cushion. Not the original, but, you know, a reminder that every conflict can be softened. Especially if something soft is nearby. I took it, and I felt warm, not because of the cushion, but because it was really, truly over. We haven't seen each other since. But I know this. Somewhere in a dusty archive room sits a man with a past that became a meme. And a present that became a second chance. And somewhere in my closet sits a cushion